Hello everyone, I am Ashok Kumar. In this video I am going to give a brief introduction to vtuprojects.com. So we are basically responsible for developing and training final year projects for BE, CSE and ASE students, and also for MTech students as well. So we are into this industry from the past 3 years and have an experience of handling more than 250 plus teams. One of the major advantage of my institute is that we are not going to train students on any repeated projects. Like the projects developed for the year 2014 will not be reused for the year 2015, and the projects developed for the year 2015 will not be reused for the year 2016. So that means that each and every project in my institute is going to be developed from the scratch using latest technologies, and the students will be trained on the same end to end. So I'm requesting all of you people to spend some time and watch this video till the end, and definitely it's going to help you to make some decision related to your final year projects. Okay, so let's get started in understanding the project flow that we will be having in my institute. So please be informed that each and every project in my institute will be IEEE 2015 papers. So each project will be implemented in these steps. So first we are going to state the problem clearly. Like we are going to say what problem we are going to solve in this project, and then we are going to come up with a paper solution, what we call it as a theoretical solution. We are going to explain how that particular problem will be solved. Okay, and the third step is to convert that paper solution into a programming language solution using any of the commercially available languages like Java, .NET, Perl, Python, Ruby, anything it could be. Okay, so as I told you, we are going to implement an IEEE 2015 papers. The problem statement will be given by the IEEE author. So the IEEE author is going to explain what problem we need to solve. So the same IEEE author is going to give the paper solution as well. In that IEEE paper itself, we will be having some solution to solve the problem. Okay, our only effort will be to convert that paper solution into the programming language solution. Okay, this will be our only effort. So I can say that there are two major advantage of implementing the projects in this way. So the first advantage being you people will be 100% safe. Meaning nobody will come back to you and ask you why you have done the project in this way, why not the other way, do it like this, do it like that, change the project in this way. All those modifications and all cannot be expected, because what you have implemented is an IEEE solution which is accepted worldwide. So it is an approved solution, so we need not change the implementation. We are in the safer hands. So that is the reason why most of the universities do prefer IEEE papers over non-IEEE projects, right? So and the second advantage is that you people will be given weightage, at least in terms of marks. So this is because you people are implementing the projects from the scratch using latest technologies. So you are not going to reuse any of the things that are already available or something like that. So you are developing the latest IEEE projects from the scratch. Okay, so you people should be given weightage in terms of marks. Okay, so that's the reason why we prefer IEEE projects over non-IEEE projects. So just for your information, if we are implementing a non-IEEE project in this particular flow, the problem statement and the paper solution both has to be done by us only. Okay, whenever we are proposing our own solution, we need to take an extra care to justify that solution. We need to perform lot of experiments in the real time to prove that our solution is correct, like that. Okay, so which will not be possible ideally in 3 months of time. So that's the reason why most universities prefer to go with IEEE projects over non-IEEE projects. Fine. So I think I'm very clear in this particular slide. So let's get going to the next slide. So in this particular slide I'm going to explain you how actually the project quality will be measured. So there are some important metrics to measure whether to say that whether the project is good or bad. Okay, so some of the commonly used metrics are uh, you know the first one I could say that algorithm. So your college people will be worried about the algorithm we are going to use, whether it is good, whether it is strong enough to solve all the possible inputs like that. Okay, so and the second matrix will be the code size, whether the project is very small or whether it is very big like that. And the third matrix is the technologies we are going to use, whether it will be helpful for us in future, whether it will be adding the weightage for our resumes, or whether are we using the old technologies like that. Okay, and the fourth matrix will be the percentage of database used. So these are the four commonly used metrics for deciding whether the project is good or bad. So let me speak some things about each one of them. So I can say that we are already in safer end in terms of algorithm, because whatever we are implementing is an IEEE paper. Okay, so it's an approved solution, so we need not bother about the algorithm, because the IEEE author have already conducted lot of experiments in the real world, and he have already proved that his solution will be working fine. Okay, so we are implementing the algorithm that is already approved. So in the first matrix we are in the safer side. Okay, and in the second matrix, the code size, on an average VTU students will be writing 1000 lines of code. I mean, the VTU will be expecting the students to write 1000 lines of code. You can verify it by referring to any of your seniors project or any of the projects outside my institute. Okay, each and every project will be at most 1000 lines of code. Okay, but the projects in my institutes alone will be ranging from 4000 to 5000 lines of code. Okay, so it's not that we are simply increasing the lines of code. For each and every line of code we are going to write, we will be having a valid justification for that. Okay, because of the features and the functionalities we are going to provide in our project, we definitely need these many lines of code. Okay, so it is like we are actually implementing 4 times of what VTU is actually asking us to do. So okay, so we are already in safer side in terms of code size as well. Okay, so coming to the technologies we are going to use, so we are going to use lot of front-end technologies and lot of back-end technologies, and some of the servers for deployment, and some of the database for storing the data like that. Okay, so some of the front-end technologies we are going to use in our projects will be HTML, CSS and JavaScript, which you people would have already learnt in your college days, right? So and some of the backend technologies we are going to use in our project will be Java and J2EE. Okay, so J2EE covering JDBC, Servlet and JSP. Okay, so these are the things probably you would have learnt in your colleges. So apart from what you people have already learnt in your colleges, we are going to use some of the new technologies like Bootstrap framework, jQuery framework, Dojo framework, Skeleton framework in the backend, in the front end. Okay, and we are going to use frameworks like Spring, Struts, Hibernate in the backend, and we are going to use servers like JBoss or WebLogic and Apache Tomcat for deploying our project, and we are going to use some of the databases available like MySQL, Oracle. Okay, so these are the technologies we people will be using, and definitely these things will be added weightage for your resumes. Okay, and also all the technologies we are going to use will be of the latest versions available in the market. So you people should be very careful over there. So if you can look into any of the projects from other institutes and all, so there are some projects implemented using 1.5 version of Java, or sometimes 1.6 version of Java, all those things and all. So that means that the project could have been implemented 1 year or 2 years ago. Okay, so but in our case we will be up to date with the latest versions of all the technologies available in the market. Okay, that will be definitely adding a weightage to your resumes. right? So, and coming to the last metric, so the percentage of the database used. Okay, so VTU allows us to use 20% of the database, okay, not beyond that. So it's the upper cutoff for the amount of the database we are supposed to use. But we are going to use only 10% of the database in our project. Okay, so we are in safer side in the fourth matrix as well. So VTU allows us to use 20% of the database, but we are using only 10% of the database, right? So I can conclude that each and every project in my institute, okay, will be satisfying these four major metrics to measure which will be used to measure the quality of the project. So if your college people are worried about any of the other metrics apart from these four, please feel free to contact me so that I can give a valid justification for that. Okay, so I think I am very clear in this particular slide as well, right? So let's get move on to the next slide. So in this particular slide I'm going to tell you the brief the class details, like the number of classes that are going to be handled here and the schedule of the batches we are going to handle and all those things. So please be informed that we are going to have two batches. So I am going to call it as a vacation batch and a regular batch. So vacation batch will be in the month of January 2016, 30 consecutive days, and the regular batch will be starting from Feb 2016 to March last week, okay, 2016. Okay, so this vacation batch so the vacation batch will be for students who will be traveling from remote locations, like people outside Bangalore, and also people within Bangalore also can get admitted to vacation batch. But the thing is that you need to attend the 30 consecutive classes. Okay, and so the class details will be like each and every project will be requiring 30 classes. The split up of each classes will be like this. So I'll be requiring 10 classes for basic training. So what are we going to do in the first 10 classes? We are going to train you people on Java and J2EE and also web programming from the scratch. Okay, I know that you people would already learned these technologies in your college days, but I need to train you people in my own way according to the industry standards. So I will assume that you people don't know anything about Java and J2EE, and I'll be training you from the scratch. Okay, in the basic training, and I'll be requiring the next 10 classes for project development. So we are going to use the strict SDLC life cycle, the software development life cycle, to develop these projects. Okay, in the next 10 classes. So and I'll be requiring another 2 classes for additional testing of our project. Okay, so this is required because we need to make sure that our project is defect free. So it should not be failing in front of your externals or in front of your internals. Whoever is running our project should find it a very smooth execution of it. Okay, so to make sure that our project will be working in all the possible inputs and all the possible criteria, so we will be requiring some 2 classes of serious testing over there. Okay, so and then I'll be requiring 4 more classes for soft skills training. So here you people will be trained on the communication part and also on the body language part. So the basic agenda of these 4 classes is to make sure that you people will be gaining a very good presentation skills for presenting our project in front of your externals, right? So we have a separate team for training you people on soft skills and body languages. So those people are actually the industry experts in training people on various soft skills technologies. Okay, so I will be requiring another 4 more classes for mock presentations and demos. So what actually will be done in these 4 classes is we will be asking you to give the demo in front of us. So we will be reviewing whether it is up to the mark or whether you need still improvements or something like that. So we will be commenting it, and you people should be incorporating appropriate corrections, and you need to give the demo again for us, like that. So the basic agenda is that to give you people experience in presenting the project, so that you will never fail in front of your externals or internals. You people can fail in front of us, but definitely you will never be failing in front of your externals or internals. Okay, so that is the agenda of these 4 classes, right? So taken together, so it will come up to a total of 30 classes. Okay, so that the timings of which will be communicated to you people post admissions, right? So I think I'm very clear about the class details here. Okay, so that is what I wanted to tell you in this particular video. So if you have any other concerns, please feel free to reach out to us on the specified phone numbers, or also you can directly come to our centers if you have any questions or concerns like that. Okay, so now I'll be quickly telling you the formal procedure of selecting a project with my institute. So the first thing you need to do is you need to call up and ask for the project synopsis. Okay, or you can directly visit our centers and get the list of all the project synopsis. Okay, so and then you need to tell us which project you are interested in. So we have a lot of projects in various domains, like big data, cloud, data mining, networking, image processing, security, cyber, web. We have a lot of domains over there. So whichever the domain you people are interested in, so you can select a project under that, and we are going to explain you for 10 minutes on that particular project in an abstract level. Okay, I'm going to tell you what that project will be doing, and what is the existing system and their drawbacks, the proposed system and their advantages, and the technologies we are going to use. So all those things and all, I'm going to give a very brief overview of that project. So you need to explain the abstract of that project in the same way to your college people and get it approved. So once the project has been approved from your colleges, so you need to come back to us and say that your project has been approved, so that we are going to lock that project and we are not going to give that project to anybody else. Okay, so that's the formal procedure of selecting a project in my institute. And as I mentioned earlier, the classes are going to be starting from January, the vacation batch, or if you want to get admitted for regular batch, it will be from February. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Thanks a lot.